Good morning. Oh, actually, good afternoon now.
Is it afternoon?
It's basically afternoon.
Mm.
It's like almost there. It's like 7 minutes away.
Mm.
Can you start off with your name, nickname, or your alias, or what you want to be referred to as?
Oh my God. My name is Hendrix. Like Hendrix, not Jimmy.
Hendrix, not Jimmy. Okay.
I don't have a nickname, but people prefer to call me Henny, and I hate it, but it's stuck. So
Who's people?
people at work, at school previously, no, like people just say, "Oh, can I just call you Henny?" I'm like, "You're gonna do it anyway. Just do it."
So not even like close friends and family, just people that want to call you Henny.
Yeah, I'm just like, you're gonna do it anyway. Because for me, the name Henny doesn't really. It's like it's so lazy.
Yeah.
Because everybody in my family were all named Hen. So going to my house and say Henny, everybody would turn their heads. So what's the point?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. People like to call me Henny, but I go by Hendrix. But then people go, Henny, what anything can happen?
I heard that a lot too. I had a friend that she was dating this guy whose name was something with a hen, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Henny."
It's just like, and then he just go with it.
Do people refer to you as Henny also because of the drink?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's also the Hendrix gin.
Oh, okay.
That too. But that's how you know who is an alcoholic and who is a music fan. Because when I say my name is Hendrix, it either goes two ways. Oh, like Jimi Hendrix. Or, oh, like the gin. So yeah, I'm like, so you're an alcoholic. So,
Now I know.
Now I know. So yeah, it's always interesting, and it's always a conversation starter because people are like, how do you have that name?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know. Ask my parents.
You never asked them?
I did.
Okay. What did they say?
Okay, so it's a very funny story. My dad said that he always knew what he was going to call his kids when he was in his 20s. However, for my name in particular, he was like, he had a dream, apparently. And in this dream, and he said, with every kid he had, like, we appeared to him in a dream. So he says this particular dream, I appeared to him and I said, my name is Hendrix. This is my personality. This is how I'm going to act. And if things don't go specifically this way, I will leave you.
Okay, so in the dream, you told them what you were going to be like, and if they didn't get you to that place, you would leave them?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So my dad said when I was born, my personality like literally hit the nail on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was a kid, like I would say something and then I'll give you a look to make sure you have heard me. And if you didn't hear me, I would not repeat myself and I would never ask you to do that again. And then my dad was like, he started to notice that I was doing that trend with a lot of people. Like, can you hear me? And if you can't hear me, I would never do that again.
You're very direct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you didn't like repeating yourself either?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I mean, you have to sometimes, I have like 60% hearing in one ear.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you have to repeat yourself to me. But, it's kind of like, it's the context of, I've said something, like, but did you hear what I said? As opposed to, like, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, come again? I think that's what my dad was trying to tell me. And then it was reinforced as I grew older, because my grandmother would just tell me, she goes, you're not like regular kids, are you? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. She goes, well, you have a certain way of doing things that your brothers and sisters don't do. And she said, I'm just going to pre-apologize for the whole world because the whole world is not going to understand you.
Mm.
And then she goes, yeah, you were born way ahead of your time. And then I was like, okay, but now I'm older. Ooh, like I remember a lot of the things my grandmother said. And I'm like, oh shit, she was right.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive my language if I'm cussing.
You're
but
good.
like, yeah, I'm like, oh, she was right, because there are certain things that I want to see in life that are just not available yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of tends to put me in a headspace where, like I was telling you before we started recording, I woke up in a panic attack 2 days in a row now, and it's not because of things that are happening right now. It's because of things that are going to happen, that I know are going to happen, and I don't know how I'm going to handle them when it does. It's not anxiety, but I just know it's an anxiety attack. I tend to anticipate other people's needs before they know it,
Mm-hmm.
which is a strength and a weakness for me, because I can tell you what you need, and then you can take it two ways. One, you're an asshole, or two, like, okay, thank you, you're looking out for me. So, my circle of friends has greatly diminished because of that. So now I'm kind of relearning how to not be so helpful,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. So if I'm reading it correctly or hearing correctly, you're very empathetic and you're able to kind of read what people are going through and I don't want to say guess, but anticipate
Mm-hmm.
what their actions or what's going to happen to them based on you feeling what's going to take
Mm-hmm.
place.
Mm-hmm.
And because you share that with others around you, they
Mm-hmm.
interpret it. If it's good, go cool, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's something that is going to affect them in a negative way,
Mm-hmm.
they take it as
They take it out on me.
yeah, it's like an insult to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And relearning how not to do that anymore. Oof, it's hard, you
Mhm.
know, because like I I'm now in a profession where like I see people at their worst, you know, and there are sometimes I get so frustrated.
Mhm.
I'll give you an example. There was a patient who came in for recurrent TB, tuberculosis. Like, you would think in this day and age, we have a better understanding of how to control this, supportive therapies.
For the folks that don't know what tuberculosis is, can you kind of elaborate like what it does and how you get it, and kind of just like the general summary of it?
So tuberculosis is like very well known, like throughout history. But I would say, from what I've learned in my profession now, people always think of TB like lung
Mhm.
affects only the lungs, but no, it doesn't. It can stay in a muscle. It can be in your legs. It can be somewhere like so. Um, for historically, TB has been like a infection that kills a lot of people, typically respiratory, but not it's not always respiratory, but most of the cases is respiratory. So, other folks don't know that sometimes TB can just stay in a muscle and be dormant there.
Mhm.
So there is this patient who came in, and it was TB. It was in the lung and in his, um, muscles.
Mhm.
I I told this man, like, a grown man in his 50s, like, he goes, I don't want any antibiotics. I don't want to, like, I've gone through this every year. Between when the weather starts getting cold, it like flares up, and then he coughs, and then it's bloody, and then it's a lot.
Mhm.
And he goes, every year I'm in the hospital for 3 months, and I'm looking at this man like, okay, so the last time you were in the hospital, what happened? He goes, well, I didn't take any antibiotics. You guys just gave me IV fluids and pain meds, and I was discharged in 3 months. And I was like, okay. And I go, do you know that now we want to give you broad spectrum antibiotics, and we want to give you supportive therapies, including IV infusions and all of these things, so you can be out of here in 3 weeks instead of 3 months?
It's a quarter of the year, yeah.
And he goes, I don't want anything. Then I go, then you should leave. He goes, what? I'm like, then you should leave.
Mhm.
And he was so offended. I'm like, look, I'm not doing this with you. So I leave the room, get on the phone, called his wife, put his wife on speaker, and I said, I'm filling out forms. Uh, Patient is living against medical advice. Can you come pick your husband up? She goes, what's happening? I just dropped him off last night. And I go, he doesn't want to be here. He said he wants just IV infusions and Tylenol. Would you rather have him drink water at home and take Tylenol at home, or have us spike a saline bag, run it at 250 cc an hour, that's gonna cost him upwards of ten to $13,000 per week?
Dang.
Come pick him up. She was like, give him the phone. She passed him the phone. I'm standing in the room. I just, with a TB patient, we are gown the whole shebang. She goes, what are you doing? Why are you refusing the antibiotics? He goes, well, the last time I didn't give me any antibiotics and I was out in 3 months. And she goes, listen to your nurse. And then I called the doctor on the phone and I said, just so you know, I'm arguing with this man right now. Da, 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 da. The doctor comes, stands outside the door. The doctor doesn't say anything. Stand as he watches me lecture this man on why supportive antibiotics is good for him to help prevent opportunistic infections during this time his TB is active.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also, told him about, there's this combination of antibiotics we also give to called ripe.
Mm.
So we typically don't get to the E of the ripe because RIP by that time the TB is done.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave him a whole lecture on why infectious diseases need to talk to him so we can start this series of antibiotics. After we were done, it took me an hour and a half to tell this man that after this, he's not coming back to the hospital because
he's healed, or
yeah,
it's gone?
it
Yeah.
will be gone. He was so angry, and finally, when we started by day 3, I walk in the room. I'm like, interesting. You're not coughing anymore. And I had him. So I typically do my shifts 3 days, and I pack it together so I can have 4 days off. So by day 3, I walk in his room. I'm like, interesting. You're not coughing anymore.
It's a miracle.
And then he goes, damn. He goes, thank you. I was so stubborn. And then you really like how to talk to me the way you spoke to me for me to listen. And for that case, it's special because he listened, but he had to take force, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the way I went about it, looking back, I think I was so wrong in so many ways. But in my mind, those actions that I was taking was for his greater good, and now I'm relearning to not take things through that path anymore.
Okay. How's that been? Have you? Do you think that you kind of just will develop that skill to be empathetic but
Firm?
firm? Yeah.
I think that would take time. I did have a conversation with my coworker the other day who he said to me, he goes, I always watch you. You do good for people. But then when you're done, you roll your eyes so much because you're like, people can be so annoying because he was overhearing me talking to one of my patients, and I said one time, because the patient just storms out of the room after I've asked this patient several times, hey, your pain med is due in an hour. I'm going to bring it now so your pain doesn't break through. No, I don't want it. Okay. You're pain free now. Let's keep it that way with a regular scheduled, administration. He goes, but the opioids, and they keep me constipated. Yes, they do. We know that. You're getting me relaxed. You're getting things to keep your
Everything going, yeah.
Yeah, so you're getting everything. So don't worry about pooping. Let me worry about you pooping. And let me worry about your pain. All you have to do is just say yes. No. Okay. I walked out of the room, started doing my charting, started to see my other patients. Comes out of the room screaming at the top of his lung in the hallway. I'm in pain. And the resource nurse, I love whenever this particular nurse is a resource, you know, like I literally just say to her, "Don't react." She goes, "Oh, I'm not reacting." So, so she walks down the hallway. She goes, "I said, just so you know, I'm predicting this is going to happen. Don't react."
Mm-hmm.
Because I already gave a lecture on this, so don't react. So he comes out to the hallway, scream. She calls me. Okay, it happened. And I go, well, interesting. So I walk over to this patient and I go, so are we gonna listen to me now? And by the end of my shift, he was like, oh, they don't make them like you. So when I keep hearing that over and over again, I start thinking of my grandmother, because she was like, oh, you're different.
Mm-hmm.
And then all those things where she was telling me when I was a kid, you would say something and you see if they hear it, and if they don't hear it, you will never say it again. All of that started to register
Mm-hmm.
with me. And then I think my fear and anxiety now is the part where she said, I'm going to teach people how to love. And I go, what does that mean? Because I like that's the one part that has not clicked for me.
How to love?
Yeah. Like, I said that so fast. Yeah. Like,
Love like romantically, platonically, or in what
all
capacity?
kinds of love.
Okay.
Because she gave me several examples of what I did for other people growing up that now that I'm thinking back, I'm like, oh, I was always going to be a nurse, wasn't I?
Mm-hmm.
I was always going to end up in the medical field or something, helping people. Like, I just didn't know. She said, when I was a kid, I always, you know, pressured my parents to give me a younger sibling because I was the youngest for 6 years and I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally, I fought against that. You are this person's brother. I'm like, excuse you? My name is this. And I would say that so loudly that my older siblings just never said, oh, this is my baby brother. And I hated the word baby
Mm-hmm.
next to brother.
Not the youngest, just baby.
Yeah, yeah. I hated that word. So I would say, no, this is my brother. If you want to say, like, if you want to talk about something, say little because they were bigger than me.
Yeah.
I was very specific on how they introduced me to their friends because like, if you say baby brother, I'll just look at you. I'm like, who are you talking about?
How many of you were there?
So,
Or are, if there are?
yeah, well, now, we're two boys. I mean, I say two boys because I delete one of my brothers out of my memory.
Oh my god. Good lord.
I have two older brothers and then one older sister and a younger sister.
Okay, so
So,
5 of you total.
but I'm the last boy. So it's a sister, a brother, another brother, me, and then a younger sister. Starts with a girl, ends with a girl. As it
Nice.
should be. Who runs the world? Girls.
Hendrix. You're all named with the letter hen?
Yes.
Or not letter, but
Hen. Like
all 5
literally.
of you?
Hen.
Okay.
Yes.
It's like a family tradition, or?
Well, it's a thing that my dad started, and now my brother's taking it on. Henry's my oldest brother, my favorite brother, my only brother.
Hendrix. Good lord.
Henry has 3 kids now: Harry, Haley, and Heavenly.
To all ages. Okay.
Because one thing my brother and I talked about was when he was having his kids, I said, you are not calling your kids hen. It's make it stop
Yeah.
now. I go, we can do the H's. There's so many H name out there. And then he was like, oh, like, yeah, but I want to middle name my kid David. I'm like, no, it's not gonna be Harry David. Like Larry David.
Yeah.
Hell no. So my brother Henry is like my favorite because he's a pharmacist. He's always been someone who I can like talk to and not sound crazy. because he's very understanding.
Mm.
And when he became a dad, like he's one of those people. I was like, oh, it was like the best thing ever, because I'm like, he's such a great big brother.
Mm.
I'm like, imagine that as a father, and he's exactly how I expect him to be as a father. You know, it's exactly how I want to be as a dad, but keep them kids away for a while.
I'm the fun uncle, yeah.
But like, my brother is very patient.
Mm-hmm.
He's very patient and great. Like I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, having me as a younger brother was not easy for anybody, because I
You're a handful.
I was always all up in their business, always being like, why this, why that? And my brother Henry was patient enough to always like slow down and talk to me. Like my brother was going to pharmacy school, and then during his holidays or times he had off school, he would sit me down and say, "This medication does this." I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. That I'm older, and when I was in nursing school, we're doing our pharmacology lecture series, and all of a sudden, like those memories of my brother sitting me down and saying, you can't take Tylenol and not think about kidney, renal, and liver function, or you just can't prescribe this kind of dose. That like all of those times
Mm-hmm.
came back, you know, and I was like, what? Like, and you tell me, as a big brother, if someone does that for you, he's not gonna be a great dad. And then Henry told me the other day, he said, well, I did this for you. You need to be available to my kids, because I need my kids to know that, money is not just from mom and dad. You gotta have to work for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't ask my parents for anything. I really don't. And he said, like, although he's gonna do his best to make sure his kids are comfortable, he doesn't want his kids to grow up thinking dad is just going to provide everything for us. And he said the only person he has seen who has always been like that, because I never, like growing up, I never really asked my parents for anything. They just gave it to me.
Mm-hmm.
No, they did. And I appreciate them for that, Um, he just said, my kids need to learn that. Like, you need to be independent. You need to make your own path. You need to forge your own path. I would never tell you what to do, but you need to have some idea of what you're going to become. And if not, take that time to figure it out. So, anyway, pivoting. Where did the story start from again? I have ADHD.
You're good. No, just asking about your your siblings, how you all start with the letter H, Hen, and then now your brother Henry is
He's
having.
just an amazing human being. Like, I love him.
How old are you in like age difference?
Henry is, I think, 4 years older than me.
Oh, so he's still pretty close to you in age.
No. 5 years
That's
older
still pretty.
than me.
That's only a year difference. That's still pretty close in
It's
age.
5 years older than me, yeah.
That's awesome. So he was your eldest brother that you
Yeah.
that you still see. I don't want to say see as a father figure, but he was kind of like
Yeah.
for you. Okay.
Yeah. Because, my dad was always in a different country, which kind of makes sense when it comes to me. I have that restless thing about me where up until COVID, like, shut me down, shut the whole world down, and, we're not going to go back and talk about those
Yeah.
ages, but, like, when I started making money on my own, every 3 months I was in a different country.
Mm.
And I just didn't understand why I needed to do that.
So it was for fun, not for like for work or anything.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I used to work at UCSF, and I loved my job at UCSF as a researcher. The thing with the job as a researcher, you can also do it remote.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this very nice schedule where I worked from home certain days of the week, and then I could also take a vacation. But I didn't have to like apply for a vacation. I just have to tell my bosses that on this day and this day I will not be
Mm-hmm.
available, and then so you don't have to apply for it. But it works to continues because it's research, and when you come back, you can just keep doing it. So I would work for 3 months straight, accrue like a good amount of PTO, then take 2 weeks off and go to a different country
Mm.
and just learn about the people there, meet people there, eat the food. Oh my God, I was always munching on something, which was why like back then, like a lot of my posts was like travel, CrossFit. It was like, oh, I'm in Scotland today, and then I'm back. First thing I go do is go straight to the gym.
The essentials.
Yeah, and my dad was like that, or is like that. I don't know if it's a travels anymore. So I think I got that from him. Um, he was always so curious about the world, and it worked out for him.
What did your dad do for work?
He worked. My dad, oh, he has his master's in public administration, so he really just worked for the government
Mm.
and stuff. Um, he did a lot to make sure that, us kids were comfortable. But he also, like, now that I think back, I am, 33 years old. Yes, that's my age.
You look beautiful though.
Thank you. I wasn't fishing, but I was fishing. um, at 33, my dad already had all of his kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think he already had all of his kids. I'm like, this age? I'm like,
You're still living.
right?
Yeah, I get you.
And then you have like small kids at home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I can't do that. I cannot do that. And then my mom, I think she had her last baby at 29.
Mm.
So there was a 10-year period of her life where all she had was kids from 19 to 29.
So your parents got together pretty young then.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did they meet? Do you know
Mm. Mm.
that story?
Mm. Well,
You have to share if you don't want to.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of makes me uncomfortable
Yeah, it's totally
because
fine.
yeah, it's like
No worries. Well, let's talk about this. So your parents meet, they get together at a young age. Did they meet in SoCal or did they meet like in a different state?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Has your family always been based out of California?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Where were you before this?
We try like it's as I said,
Family
traveling.
travel.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool, cool.
So like I cannot even really tell you a base point, but I can tell you that I loved our life in Nigeria, Benin City.
Mm.
My grandmother, amazing. I think that's why I love my brother so much because I see a lot of my grandmother's traits in him.
Okay.
Yeah,
What are some of those traits?
patient,
Mm.
kind, very open. I wish I was more open. I think I am, but I wish I was more like them. I'll give you an example of how kind my grandmother was. So my grandmother, she lost her husband, my grandfather, when my mom was 8 years old. So my grandmother, like from that day on, had this superstition to never buy a brand new car. Here's why. My grandfather had a business where it was like they supplied building supplies for constructions and paint and like so basically like he was a contractor. He would give you the supplies, the materials, and the people. And then my grandmother was helping me out in this business, and then eventually my grandfather um, had made enough money. He said he wanted to buy himself a brand new Mercedes Benz.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this was 1970s, so those cars are ugly. No airbags.
Yeah.
So he bought like this Mercedes Benz, and it was all nice. My grandpa only had that car for a week. Got into an accident. Survived the accident. The car was very damaged. And 2 days after the accident, he passed away
From his injuries?
in his sleep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. My grandmother said after the accident, obviously like medicine wasn't moving well developed back then. So I can think he probably had a brain bleed or a blood clot somewhere Okay, because my grandmother said like, oh, like the night before the day he died, or before she discovered that he was dead, he just complained of a headache. He took a medicine, went to sleep, and didn't wake up. So my mom was 8, and my aunt was 4. She only had the 2 kids
Mm-hmm.
with him, and she never remarried. My grandma never remarried, and so she just said, okay, I'm really gonna focus on trying to raise my kids, because my grandfather already had kids from a previous marriage who were boys, so those boys took over the business. So my grandmother got nothing. And she was a great stepmother to those kids, apparently, because my mom is still like close to her half
Mm-hmm.
siblings, um, close ish. And then my mom had an older brother that she thought they were twins growing up, because my grandma like dressed them the same, fed them the same,
Mm-hmm.
but it was the child my grandpa had before getting with my grandmother, and his name is Aige. Unfortunately, he passed away. There's a lot of passing away stories that I'm gonna be saying today, and I'm not milking this for pity.
It's life.
It's just life,
Yeah.
and I'm letting you know how my makeup is and why I think I am the way I am now. um, so like my uncle died in New York, and my mom didn't know that he passed away until like after COVID, and I'll get to that part of the story. But my grandmother had a superstition that we shouldn't buy a brand new car, because if we get into an accident, a brand new car, we will die.
Mm.
So she had that trauma transferred from generation, and I was like, I love a brand new car. I want a brand new car. 4 years later, I'm still alive. And um, my grandmother also had a superstition about twins too, because she lost a set of twins before
Your mom.
my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So she was just kind of like, I don't want this to happen to my kids. I don't want this to happen to my grandkids. Like, this is very hard for me. She like so growing up, like in our house in Nigeria, like we had like 8 bedrooms, like 5 upstairs, 3 downstairs, and you can just sleep wherever you want. Just claim a bedroom and take it, you know. So I just was like, I am not sleeping in this big bedroom by myself. So I took the mattress out of my bed, moved into my grandmother's room, and I slept there every night. And every night, I would just stay up, and I would just I spoke to my grandmother, and I said, "Tell me a story about your life, from the day you were born to the day I was born. Tell me everything." So every night, my grandmother would tell me stories of the things she had experienced, the people she had met, people that had passed away, how she felt when she lost her twins, and it was a 10-year space in between the twins and my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to put that timeline together, yes, my grandma did not commit to marrying my grandpa until she actually got pregnant with this child. So she literally said, I cannot have kids because I lost twins already, so I know I can't have kids.
Mm-hmm.
So then she met my grandpa. So she said, I'm going to focus on helping you build your business. You go out there and have kids, and then come home to me.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, he took that opportunity and went there.
Oh my god.
And then all those women who had those kids for my grandpa all loved my grandmother, which was very weird.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Because they were
So it's like open marriage then. Open like partnership.
yeah,
Open relationship. Yeah.
yeah. So they loved my grandmother because they were like, my grandmother always treated them so nicely, never bat an eyelash. So I was like, what? She goes, again, Hendrix, she said, I'm telling you, you were born ahead of your time, same way I was.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like she saw the kind of person that she was in you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. She said, same way I was. She said, I taught people how to love. Because she goes, I know my last day on this planet, I'm going to see your grandpa, and it's going to be bliss. And I was like, oh my God. And then,
It's really profound.
uh-huh, she goes, it's going to be bliss. So she said, back then, people thought I was crazy. Like, how could you have his kids in the house? How could you raise his kids? She goes, they're his kids. So they're my kids. Then eventually she found out she was pregnant. Then she was like, okay.
Gotta bring him back.
And he did.
How many kids did your grandpa have before your mom?
Four.
Four. So it's okay.
Four. Two with one woman, and then one with a different woman. And then the third one was very close in age to my mom. So they were like Irish twins.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, so she told me these stories, and then she said, again, I was 8 years old. She said, Hendrix, I'm going to tell you something. I go, okay, what? She goes, I will not be surprised if you come home with a man. I also will not be surprised if you come home with a woman. And I go, why? She goes, you're going to teach this family how to open their eyes to a new age. She goes, I tried, but I think I failed.
When was this?
I was 8 years old.
Oh wow. Dang, your grandma was having these like deep conversations at a very young age.
And that's why I had my mattress in her room.
Gotcha. So she was like you two were very close, obviously, growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And this is yeah. And now that I'm in a medical field, like I kind of, when I think back at her story, I always catch myself when I'm in the transference state. Transference state in the medical field is when you've experienced something and you see someone else experiencing it, then you react like you're in the situation, then you try to control the situation.
Mm.
So for me, I always kind of catch myself in a transference state, because I will get there. I'll get to that part of the
We
story
got
too.
time.
I'll get to that part of the story too. But my grandmother and I used to talk every night, and she just told me a lot of stories. And then she started to bring up examples of how I'm different from people. Before my sister was born, I was asked my parents like, "Why don't you want to have another baby?" They're like, "We have three boys and a girl." FYI, my older sister is not my mom's child.
Mm.
It's my half sister. Not really my half sister. She's like my dad's girlfriend's child that my dad raised.
And you're finally like adopted.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So she was 3 months old when my parents finally got together. So, and that was kind of one of the ick, because I was like, I don't know, it's one of those is where there was so many red flags as to how my parents met that I'm kind of like, really?
Mm-hmm.
I would leave, but to each their own love story.
Yeah.
So my grandmother told me about a neighborhood kid that I sort of adopted, and I had a lot of pictures with him as a kid. I was 4 or 5 years old, and I was very, very antsy about my parents having a kid. I was like, "You guys should have a kid. You should have a kid. I want a baby that is mine." And she kept going like, because your parents were not hurrying it up, I sort of adopted a neighborhood kid, and I treated him like my brother. Like whenever my parents bought me clothes, I never wore them until they bought him replica clothes. My birthday, my fourth birthday, I think I still have a picture somewhere. like it's me and him standing next to my birthday cake when it was supposed to be me standing solo. And my parents bought him the same exact outfit because I was not gonna wear those clothes
Yeah.
unless no, like no joke. My grandmother was like, "Do you remember this kid?" I'm like, "Yes." And she goes, "You know, you just go take him. You feed him. You took him everywhere. Like he was basically your brother." And his parents never mind because his parents were kind of having marital problems. So it was they never really questioned why their son was always at our house because they were like, oh, it's over there at the around house. So or the I say house because that was our name back then.
Mm.
Um, she could. Oh, she's there with the SA family. Okay, she would just leave her kid with us. So my mom just was like, okay, I think Hendrix really wants
A
a
sibling.
sibling.
Yeah.
Then that family, from what I understood, they divorced, and then my baby brother, I'm not gonna say his name because he's probably gonna watch this. He moved, and I never saw him again.
Oh.
I never saw him again until I was like 25. Mm-hmm.
How'd you reconnect?
His mom connected with my mom, and then my mom told him where I was, and then he found me.
Oh, so he came to you.
Mm-hmm.
That. Oh my God. What was that like? That experience after
It
not
was
seeing for 20
weird
years. Yeah.
because he remembers everything,
Mm-hmm.
and he said to me, "You were so nice to me when everyone was just crazy," and I go, "I don't remember this." He goes, "No, like." You made sure I was fed because I remember this. I remember whenever we were eating dinner, I cut my foot in half. Half was his, half was mine. And I always did that. So when my sister was born, the reason why I don't really remember him until like I saw pictures and people telling me stories was because I did that for my sister.
Mm.
So when my sister was born, literally, like my mom had the baby, and we went straight to the hospital. I just walked past my mom, went straight to the crib. My mom was like, I was straight to the crib. I'm like, I'm gonna take care of you until you're married. And my mom said, I said that. And I was like, how old was I? She goes, you were 6. I'm like, ah. And my behavior made sense because my sister, when she was in middle school and I was like in the end of high school, or even when I was in middle school, my sister was in like kindergarten or preschool, wherever the heck it was. I remember like I would, during lunchtime, I would go buy something, then I'll buy like a yogurt or ice cream or something, go to my sister's side of campus, give it to my sister, then go back. And my mom was like, "Why do you do that?" I'm like, "I don't know." She goes, "You know, she goes, "You know, I feed your sister, right?" I go, "And?" Because like, I just didn't understand why people were questioning my actions. I'm like, "That's my baby sister. I'm going to look out for her,"
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I hope I did because now she's about to be 30 this year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, right? Wait, I don't know.
27.
Yes. See, my math is not mathing. It's 27. My sister's gonna be 27 this year, and oh my god, it's weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, because she's still like your baby sister.
Yes,
Mm.
like it's it's a whirlwind because I see her and I still think of the little girl like that I carried. Like I was so tiny, right? And I will hold my sister until my sister fell asleep, and then I'll give her the milk in the bottle, the whole thing. I remember all of that. So that's why I don't remember this neighborhood kid because like when my parents gave me that younger sibling that I wanted, my whole world just sort of like focused on her. And I took my sister to school and back up until I got into college. And then my parents were like, "Wait, how do we do this?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Excuse me?" No, seriously, like it was an actual conversation I had with my mom and dad
Mm-hmm.
because like they were like, "Hey, what time do we actually pick her up from school?" I was like, "Excuse me?"
In college.
Yeah. This was my freshman year in college. And I was so angry that I had to have that conversation with them. I go, she's in high school now. She's your responsibility. She's always been your responsibility. But, like just having me as like a buffer, they didn't have to really think about a lot of things, you know. And then I remember there was one day when I was taking my sister home from school. Like the principal just stopped sending letters to my parents. They just put my name on the letter. I got sending my sister.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I told my parents, I'm like, "Did you know my sister got straight A's, and we have to go to this ceremony where they're gonna like
Like recognize her?
recognize her?"
Yeah.
My parents like, "Oh really? I'm working that day." I'm like, "No, you're not. You're going." So I went with my parents, and I was standing next to my parents. My sister's teachers were coming to me to talk to me about my sister's stuff, and I go, "That's my dad. That's my mom." They were like, "Huh?" And that was very surreal for my dad because he brings that incident up till today. He goes, "Remember when we went to your sister's thing and then no one spoke to us?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I still think about that moment." And he goes, "Because you kept having to stop people and say, was that the parents?"
Mm-hmm.
You know? So he said, you know, now that we are getting older, that we should all start like focusing on thinking about our kids and having kids. And I just said, I don't think I want to have a kid until I'm ready. And I don't think I'm going to be ready until I'm happy. And I don't think I'm happy because I'm not comfortable. And I don't think I'm comfortable because mentally, financially, and socially, I'm not there yet. I cannot have a kid. But I almost did though. In 2022, almost. And then didn't work out. you know, um, So, talking about how to love, I think love in general goes beyond just romantic because I look back at my grandmother and I know people don't think about life and death, but I do because I see it every day. And in those moments, I think of when I talk about transference, right? I never got to say goodbye to my grandmother when she passed. She passed away from cancer that was Mets to her spine. So her last days on earth, she just couldn't talk. All she did was, mm. And it's so crazy. The day she died, I saw her in a dream. Elegant and as beautiful as ever, with her white long hair, like mine. White long hair. And she just said, "Don't worry." That's what she said. Don't worry about what? And then, before moving to LA in 2021, I had just another vivid dream where it was just me talking to my grandmother. And I was describing this dream to my mom, and my mom just started crying. She goes, "What did you see?" I go, "My grandmother's in the bed. She was complaining her hair wasn't a knot and she needs someone to brush it out. Um, I remember the room, it wasn't white, it was cream, and there was like a kind of, she goes, "Red window?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Hendrix, that's the room your grandmother died in." I wasn't there. I described the room so vividly in this dream. And then she goes, "Just so you know, your grandmother was complaining every day before she died that she needed someone to brush her hair. And it wasn't, nobody was focusing on brushing her hair because people were just focusing on just talking to her." And and that's how I just knew that the love for my grandmother was very different. Because later in life, she never really called me her grandson. She goes, "That's my son. That's my son." Um, then she pointed at another incident in my life where like I got very attached to a friend of mine from church. Not in a romantic way, but in a very friendly platonic way. And she said, "You always look out for him." She goes, "Do you know, like in life, people don't do that. People look out for themselves. And then if they want their family, and then if they want other people. But you just say, I'm doing it. And she said, over time, you need to slow down and start studying people, because then the right people will come to you. Um, I think, in a way, I have failed in that because I have been very open to a lot of people. And then in that process, I've attracted the people who have drained my energy. And over time, dropping these people caused such a catastrophic thing in my life where they were just like untruths being said about me. Because I would hear something about me and I'm like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me? I'm not like that. Or, I will give an example as to when I started working at the hospital that I work now. My first week was great. First month, wonderful. People wanted to talk to me. It was weird. The people in the C-suite, CEO, CNO, CMO, Chief Medical Officer, Chief Nursing Officer, Chief Executive Officer, they all knew my name. And I'm like, I'm just Hendrix. What's this? And then because like the star rose so fast, so brightly, 6 months into my job, no one would talk to me when I come to work. I will talk to my patient, the doctor, that'll be it. And I just didn't understand what was happening. And then over time, I started to like gather. People were saying that I was cocky, I came off too strong, I came off as a know-it-all. Because when someone would say something to me, I'd be like, oh yeah, I knew that. Me saying I knew that doesn't mean I know it. Like, you're reminding me of something that just popped in my head. I'm like, oh yes, 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 yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's for me, thank you for reminding me of that. Then I will let you share whatever knowledge you want to share. But the mere fact that I had that moment of like light bulb and I verbalized it came off as cocky to people. And then another person pointed out to me that they just didn't like me because I have two masters and I have enough credentials to be the manager of our department because I have more credentials than him.
Mm.
But I'm like, yeah, but he has more experience than me. He has more certifications than me. Like, it's not about the amount of time you spent in school. It's your qualification. I'm not qualified to run a freaking department. I mean, I'm qualified to be ASI president.
Same, but different.
Same, but they're. But like, I like that's not my goal in life.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is not to run a department. No. you know, and I just, had to take that in because I was like, okay, this is how you guys are perceiving me because I actually wanted to know more about life. Then I said, that's your projection of your insecurities onto me. Make it stop. And then every single person that said something to me, which is why I'm very grateful for one of my coworker, she knows who she is. She told me who said what and when. And she said, do with this information what you will. And she said, if you choose to go to HR, I will back you up. And I said, actually, I'm going to choose a different path.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show all of you how wrong you are. And that's where I'm at now. Like, I'm going to be nice to everybody. I'm going to be kind. But I'm also not going to be a pushover. Talking about transference, right? Because I never got to say goodbye to my grandmother. Whenever I get a patient who I know is going to pass away, like, people always say to me, Hendrix, you need to slow down and think about the patient. And I'm like, no. And I know my reaction in this moment because I'm able to clock it. I go, no. The family is going to say goodbye first before this patient leaves. So I'm going to keep them alive until everyone says goodbye. Families do appreciate that. But, coming from a context of like you want your patient to be comfortable, you want your patient to be pain-free, that's not very wise.
Mm-hmm.
But in those moments, my hospital has a very good palliative team where they do like say, okay, we're taking care of the patient, but are you okay? And then you start having those conversations with them and saying like, yeah, no, I'm not okay because I didn't say goodbye to my grandma. So I will not pass on that trauma to somebody else. I absolutely will not do it. Um, so yeah, I'm still like anticipating this whole teaching people how to love part. So I don't know where it's gonna take me.
When you were mentioning earlier that your grandma told you at a pretty young age that you were going to show this new generation of how to love, what was your like interpretation of that? Like that she were going to show people how to love both or all?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think so because I kind of I've seen that in my dating life, but now 33, I'm kind of like starting to narrow my view on the romantic part
Hmm.
because I used to be so open to a lot of people. I'll give you an example of a most recent. I don't know if I should call it a relationship or like an encounter. It's something,
Situationship.
something. You know, started off as friends. Like I felt so comfortable with this human. I call them human because a lot of the things that was revealed over time um, changed me. And then this person felt comfortable enough to tell me how they not only express themselves sexually, but also by gender and all those things. And I was like, and, you know, do you?
Hmm.
Like, do you? I want you to be happy. Because if you're happy, I'm happy. I'm just here to support. Um, um, that person took it to the extreme, though. Um, I will like I would just get a call randomly. Oh yeah, I hooked up with this person today. Okay.
After they told you they had feelings for you?
Yeah.
Hmm.
After they asked to be locked in, I was like, okay, why do you think that's appropriate? And I wouldn't even like in the moment I won't react because I'm kind of like, do you realize what you're saying right now? Because I have to like really pause in certain moments and be like, okay. And then I'm like, I'm not. Then, then when I am, it's crazy how my silence speaks louder than me
Mm-hmm.
talking. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, very silent, and then the talking just keeps going. Because I'm not asking any questions. I'm just sitting there, and I'm also like I'm not making this face that I'm making to you now, but I'm just like trying to understand. And then the talking just keeps going. Like, what led to that? What led to this? What led to this? And I'm like, oh, so throughout this process, I wasn't even thought about once. Nice. So, because my takeaway is, I am not going to fault you. Again, looking at the story of my grandmother, right? Go do you. And then I know I'm endgame, so. So, knowing that someone like knowing that that has existed in my bloodline, like I know I can be very forgiving. Um, but I'm just like, but then again, during those moments, my grandma would tell me, "Oh, just so you know, your grandpa had very clear communication with me, so I just trusted him, and that's why those women were not my enemies. But they were not my competitors. They were the women who gave my husband kids, you know." So I just said, okay. But then again, during those moments, my grandma said, your grandpa made sure that I was seen. That's it. So I would like knowing that, I'm like, okay, I know I can forgive or I can just be more I can be in an open relationship and be receptive to what's happening. As far as I'm thought about, I wasn't thought about. Red flag. And then it happens again. And then again. I'm like, I gotta walk away. And then walking away was so hard, dude. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to do this like self assessment more recently. I think I did this a year ago. I kind of go back to it every 6 months where I said to myself, now I don't want to be in that kind of situation where, you know, go do whatever you want and come back to me. No, I don't want to do that. I, I'm just not open to that anymore. When I was younger, I was, but not anymore. And then I kind of, another thing my grandmother said to me: if someone breaks their promises to you, walk away. Walk away. Don't don't stay. And lastly, if you put too much effort into one situation and you're not seeing the results, walk away. It's okay. Um, so, with all that planted in me, I am not at a different stage in my life where I'm like, yeah, like, I want that locked in. I want security, not just for myself, but for what's going to come after me. And I also want that openness, open communication, trust. Um, I don't, I don't think I will be in an open relationship ever again, but I will be open to who you are as a person. I'm open to learning about you as opposed to you tell me. I
Mm-hmm.
will learn about you because what you tell me versus what I see can be two completely different things.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I was told in that situation versus what I learned was like night and day. So I walked away. It was painful, but you get up, you take a shower, you go for a run, you do your CrossFit, and you go to the beach on Sundays and play volleyball, and
You bounce back.
you bounce back. I'm not saying being single is fun, but I'm not also complaining because when it's right, and it will feel right.
Yeah, it's like that. I'm sorry to hear that happened, and it's like that old saying, like, no company is better than bad company.
Mm-hmm. But I will say though, to the day I die, I will always defend this person because you know, being feeling like you're not able to fully be yourself and express yourself, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would say that I would be open to wanting to be friends with this person, but I can't because then you're a doormat, and I'm not a doormat. Like, if anyone says anything bad about this person in front of me, I would defend them. But I would not be like, let's go grab brunch on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We are not doing that. Because when someone breaks your trust, like it's like a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Once it breaks and you still fix it, you can still see the cracks. So it's never gonna be the same. So then why even try to make it the same?
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Don't do that to yourself. And that's why, my grandmother always told me, she goes like, you should walk if you don't feel comfortable with anything or any situation you're in. Just walk away. Um, that's why I don't know. I opened up this by saying that for the past 2 days I've been waking up with this anxiety attacks is because I kind of know what's coming next, but I don't know when. I'm going back to school to get my doctorate, um, so I can take care of patients independently, free of doctor's orders, so I can put in my own orders. Um, um, I should be excited. On paper, I should be, but I'm not. And I don't know why. I'm trying to figure it out, but I can't. I think I just have to go through it to see. And that's why it's unsettling, because there's always like a settlement for everything, but there is no settlement in this. And then like the pieces of the puzzles are not together right now. Like school is hard, life is hard, and it's troubling to not be able to just come home and say, "Damn, I had a hard day today. How was your day?" It's troubling not being able to do that anymore with anyone. It's unsettling. That's why I think I just had these anxiety attacks.
I mean, that makes sense. Like the not knowing, being unsettled, especially with what you just shared of like your relationship and how that ended. Like that was not easy to walk away from. And I think the older that we're getting, the more we're seeing like things are starting to like settle for other people. And it's like when I don't want to speak for you, but it's like I've seen it for myself. Of I'm still like I'm trying to figure it out still, but other people that I see around me are figuring it out. What have they done to figure it out, and how is it different for me? And will my settling be the same as them, or will it be in a different direction?
I would throw a little curveball to you now.
What's up?
Why compare?
And that's a great question, and that's kind of like where I'm also thinking about it now. It's like, for me personally, thinking about what I don't okay, let me phrase. I don't think it's me really comparing, but me instead looking for answers.
Okay.
Of it's like, all right, like if you got there, how did you get there? Because I want to learn, like, did you ask yourself certain questions? Did you ask people certain questions? Did you do something like, did you go on a solo trip for 6 months? Did you learn to be a new cook? Did you quit your job? Like, what did you do to kind of get to that point?
Yeah, no, that's a very, very valid train of thought. That's valid because one thing I've never thought about is asking how, because everybody's how is different. You know, you can just be thinking, oh God, today I just need to go to the grocery store to get like a loaf of bread. Grab a loaf of bread, and the cashier is your love of your life.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, everyone's story is different, so everyone's how will be different. So comparing everyone's how to how you will get there is going to cause you to be unsettled. So I would say, and I'm not advising you to do this because again, I told you I'm wanting to not tell people what to do. I would just advise you to do this. Go through it. Because honestly, I think your end goal, let me just make this clear. Your end goal is amazing. And if you don't realize it yet, I'm letting you know now. And that's the last time I would do that. But I'm going to tell you how.
I appreciate it.
But your end goal is amazing because like there have been a few people that I've met in my life that I'm just like, you're a seasonal person. I would never speak to you again. I don't know if you think like that, but I do.
Yeah.
And then there are people who I've met, I'll be like, in 10 years, I'm going to be talking to you.
Here we are. We're almost there.
9 years.
Almost there, yeah.
It wasn't Panetta.
Yeah.
Was it Panetta we first met?
First met, yeah.
And I literally was like, I love that guy. I'm using the F word.
You're okay. I'll get it.
I literally was like, I love that guy. Like, I was comfortable with you. You got in my car. We went buying drinks together. We're just talking the whole time. You came to like my apartment. I don't even remember who was in my apartment. It was
it Colin? No, Colin was mine.
Colin was yours. It was two other people that I met that same weekend, and I said to them, seasonal.
Yeah.
I just knew that, so I didn't even bother myself to sit there with them and bond with them. And the thing that we don't talk about, that white party that we don't talk about.
Those are fun.
But it's like a tradition that my
Hmm.
school always hosts it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know that is a tradition that my school hosted until like because it's kind of a thing. Like every president passes it to the next president. I would
Hmm.
say you're going to this thing for a week. On the Friday night before your last day, this is gonna happen.
Hmm.
And then on the Saturday when you're all gonna leave, you're all gonna be hungover because there was this thing. And then even the people at the dorm who are like supposed to be the RA, they already know the tradition because
Yeah.
it's been like over 10 years running that every president passes to the next. I literally told you, I was like, I don't want to host this thing.
Yeah.
I remember I said that in the
Yeah. I
car.
remember
I
that.
was like, I don't know any of these people. And I also said, half of these people I'm not going to talk to in 5 years. I said that. And then you were like, just do it.
Yeah.
We did it. It was one of the best things ever. You know,
It bonds for the whole
it
year.
bonded us for the whole year.
Yeah.
You know, like because I remember like I was buying so much alcohol and they didn't think that I was old enough to buy the alcohol because my card they thought it was fake. So you bought the
Yeah.
alcohol. And then I was so pissed off.
Remember that?
I
Yeah.
was so pissed off. I'm like, do I look like a damn child? It was hilarious. And and then, I remember when everyone turned on you. That's yes to say. It wasn't because of you, but everyone turned on you because of your campus.
Yeah.
And I was like, remember what I said? Remember what I said?
Yeah.
I was like, everybody.
Hmm.
And I was like, there's a party in my room. You're coming. And you showed up. People were like, why is he here? I'm like, if you don't like him, leave. And that was it. There was no more longer whispers about you. And I kept going like, you guys are hating the person who's representing the campus, but you don't hate the person who did the thing that's causing you to hate the campus. Do you see how it doesn't make sense?
Yeah.
Make it make sense. And that's why when it comes to like I think again going back to how to love people, you know, you don't follow the crowd. Make your own judgment of people. Like, you know, I kind of actually despise people who just follow the crowd.
Hmm.
Because when, you start realizing that someone you think is a bad person is not really a bad person, I think that person has every right to no one associate themselves with you. And now my grandmother would tell me, smite thee. Be open hearted. But no, this is how I differ from her. I think like when someone has hurt you, you have every right to say, I want nothing to do with you,
Hmm.
and walk away and have no regrets. Um, that's how I think. And maybe that's one thing I got from my dad's side of the family because my mom's side, they're not like that. My grandmother, after my grandfather died, raised an additional six more kids, not hers.
Hmm.
She raised kids that were like her cousins and this and that. Like they just brought these kids over to my grandmother's house and left them there. So they did this because first people again I love my mom's side of the family. Like literally I love them. Like if I'm 10% as my grandmother's family is, oh my god, I'll be a much nicer person. I don't know. But no, my grandmother's side of the family, the nicest people ever. They like saw my grandmother was very lonely. My mom was 8. My aunt was 4. They wanted, and then my grandmother moved out of the house she built with my grandfather, which again is very
Oh
isolating.
wow.
I know. Very isolating, very tragic. She built her own house, um, started to raise my mom there. And it was like it was a bungalow, but it was like a lot of bedrooms. So, like, people were like, this is a big house for you to live by yourself. So, they brought their kids to come and be raised by my grandmother.
Hmm.
Um, so, one of my uncles, technically my cousin, twice or three or whatever, how many times removed, but I just call him an uncle because he's the same age as my mom's people generation. Um, He stole my grandmother's jewelry and sold it. I went partying. So I remember this incident like day because when my uncle came back, I saw red. And I still don't talk to this uncle till today. And I would never speak of his name because I really still see red when I even think of this story. He stole all my, because I remember we went to school, we came back, and my grandmother was like, have you seen this and this and this? Because my grandmother had like this like cabinet with all this nice china, and then on the like bottom drawer is like all of her jewelry. And then another drawer is like all of this nice clothes that she's collected over the years, but she doesn't wear them anymore because they're so kind of out of style.
Mm-hmm.
But she just sort of like has them there. So like I remember I used to go in there and play with the little teacups. My grandmother was like, "Don't play with them; they're expensive." I'm like, because they were just nice,
Yeah.
right? So I just remember one day I come back and these drawers were open, and I was shocked. Like it was empty. Everything was empty. Like half of the spoons and the cups were all gone. And I was like, were we robbed? Like I was thinking we were robbed.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma just sat there. She just was like, oh, okay. So all this is gone. Okay. Help me clean this and da 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 da. She just like problem solving mode, okay? We tried reaching out to my uncle, couldn't find him. Everyone's like, well, where did he go? Couldn't find him. So she was worried about his safety, thinking that maybe someone came, robbed, took
Took him with him.
him.
Yeah.
So she was like worried. And then finally, someone like sent my grandmother like a letter saying they saw him at certain place in a hotel, partying and drunk, spending all this money that we know he doesn't have because he didn't have a job. And my grandmother's like, wait, how did he get all that money?
Mm-hmm.
So she was thinking he was doing something illegal, which he was. So he came back. Money is all gone. It's literally the story of the prodigal son, because my grandmother told everyone the story of the prodigal son, and she said, "This is why we have to forgive him." I swear to God, and I'm sitting there in the living room, angry. I am still angry about the story because I'm like, "How could you forgive him?"
Mm-hmm.
She goes, "You have to." She goes, "That's my son. He did something bad. He's learned his lesson. Now, let's eat." And then when we're eating, she said she made a joke that boiled my bone, but also kind of showed her character. She goes, "Well, you took my, necklace and this, but you see these earrings? They go with the necklace. Why did you just take this too?"
Oh my gosh.
She said that as a joke.
Yeah, I would be fuming as well.
And I'm like, and my uncle just like had his head down like this. And I'm like looking at him. It took every fiber of my being to not punch him in the face. And I'm a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just like, "It's okay, go to your room." That was it. And then whenever, like, if till today, if I bring up that story to my mom would be like, "You know how angry your grandmother would be if you brought this up."
You're still thinking about it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She would be like, she goes, why is this still a thing?
Mm-hmm.
She would be like, my grandmother would literally scream, "It's enough, let it go." So when this uncle of mine was getting married, he wanted me to be the ring bearer at his wedding. Obviously, my answer was no. He asked my dad to, contribute financially. And I literally called, like, I'm a kid. And I know I shouldn't have been doing any of this. But my grandmother also told me, too. She said, the way you react, you need to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I remember getting on the phone, calling my dad. And I said, if you do it, I will never call your dad again. My dad was like, he didn't even understand the context of the call, because my dad didn't do it ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
But he just knew that it was something that would have caused more friction. And then at this uncle's wedding, I remember telling my grandmother, "I'm not even going to drink a cup of water because I hate him that much." She said, Hendrix, soften your heart. Let it go. Let it go. It took me to my grandmother passing away and my uncle actually saying sorry to me for me to like soften to him because I didn't know how much I took on her pain because I spent a lot of time with her. So when people like did something to hurt her, I reacted to it.
Mm-hmm.
So when my grandmother passed, um, I'm doing this not because I'm protecting myself because psychologists and psychiatrists out there they do that. They say whenever someone is saying something difficult, they do this. It's to protect themselves. It's like a comfort measure. So you know, I'm not trying to trauma dump your podcast here, but this is one of those things where I hope people can hear the story and just learn to be kind and nicer to their children. Because the reason why I put my brother on such a pedestal is because he did one thing that I pointed out to my dad recently. My niece, Haley, was watching TV and her older brother, Harry, came and changed the channel. And Haley was like, hey, I'm still watching that. My brother said to Harry, change it back. My dad would sit there and let it happen. Because in his mind, in his psychology, you're older, you're right. And I said, older doesn't mean right. So I told him that. And I said, this is why if I ever need advice, I don't go to you, I go to him. I'm telling you of one moment in time where my brother's like, I don't even remember this. I'm like, I know you don't because that's just who you are. This is your makeup. You see right and wrong and you say something. I go, you on the other hand, Dad, you go tradition. The older one is right. So let's just go with the older one. No. Is the younger one making sense? Are we trying to? And if the younger one is making sense, listen. So it's a journey on that aspect when it comes to my dad. And that's when you were asking how my parents met. I'm like, okay, but I just don't want to spend time talking about him because I told my dad face to face. I go, I don't talk about you in my daily life. He was like, what? I'm like, yeah. I was like, no, I really don't talk about you. I talk about Henry. I talk about his kids. I talk about my mom. I just don't talk about you. He was like, in what context? I'm like, at all. I go, you exist, and then I'll tell people your job, and I tell people the good things you did. But outside of that, I just don't talk about you. I don't have these memories of my dad told me this. No, it's my brother told me this. My grandmother told me this, and my grandmother herself also told me too that forgiveness goes a long way because when you forgive someone, you don't only forgive them, you forgive yourself. Yeah. When I say now, I'm learning to have a lot of forgiveness. I'm learning to not hold on to things because, as I've said, unlike my grandmother, you hurt her, she's still gonna love you and open her door to you. You hurt me, I'll love you, but this planet is big enough for both of us to not have that interaction. But I will always defend you. If someone says this man is a terrible person, I'll be like, okay, give me a reason why. Then I will tell you 5 good things I know about this person. And if you still think this person is a bad person, that says more about you than about the person. So that's my approach in still loving people but not letting them get closer anymore. I would never laugh when someone I no longer associate with is doing bad. As a matter of fact, I will have so much empathy. I will pray for them, but I will not reach out. I would not reach out. And then when it's resolved, and then eventually I do see you, if by chance I see you in person, I will acknowledge that I saw that, and I will acknowledge that I hope things are better. Um, it's a way for me to now start protecting my peace because, like I've just been taken through the ringer when it comes to the love life
Mm-hmm.
thing, man. And they typically say, like, you go through that cycle of like love and lust or wrong time, hovering around someone or someone hovering around you for at least 8 times before you land the one. And I'm like, this has been 12 times. uh, and, I don't know, like, I think I'm starting to learn to trust myself again. And I'm going back to my um, primary ability to trust people. Like, I know I'm always going to trust you. Like, I know I can tell you whatever the heck I want. And I know it's going to be a positive conversation. Because even if you tell me your version and I tell you my version, you're going to be like, I see both sides, but this is what I think. You do that. Um, and there's only like a handful of people who did that for me. I'm gonna bring up Josh, but I'm only gonna bring him up once because it's not. Josh was also a big part of my life. You met him,
Yeah.
you know. He was one of those people who, like, I would have, like, no, that was my for life.
Mm-hmm.
Like 80 years old, we're gonna be those old men sitting on the couch, being like, "Remember that party we went to?" That was Josh and I. Like, we were brothers, and his death and his loss was something, again, while there are days where it's just so hard because I went to his niece's graduation the other day and I thought I was good. I'm laughing with everybody, and then this song comes on, Memory by Maroon 5. And I'm just like bawling my eyes out. I'm like, what? Like, I was like, I thought I was good. And and then his niece is crying because she's missing him and she sees that I'm crying. I'm like, oh my God, this is not the vibe we should be
Mm-hmm.
having right now. It's your graduation. We should be happy. But I was also like, he should be here. And um Josh was one of those people where, like, whoever I meet for the rest of my life, I'm gonna compare them to him. And they're never gonna meet him. How's that fair? It's not.
Mm-hmm.
And if, okay, if Josh was also alive too, I wouldn't even bother myself interacting with a lot of people. I'm like, have my bestie, go away.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't bother myself interacting with people, which is something we started to notice we were doing because we would travel together. We went to Portland, Oregon together, and we went to visit like his dad's roots. We went to his dad's high school and got like the yearbook with his dad's photo in it. And him and his dad look exactly the same when his dad was in high school. The only difference was the freaking bowl cut from like this, that haircut I'm
Yeah.
talking about. And then we're just walking around, and again, like, we're sightseeing, and people are walking up to us to talk to us, to invite us to parties, to invite us to a hike, and we're like, this is weird.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, then I asked Josh, is this normal? Josh was like, no, it's only normal when I'm with you.
Yeah.
He goes, it's only normal when I'm with you. Because, like, when I'm with you, all of a sudden, we're getting free drinks. We're getting invited to VIP lounge at the club when we don't know anybody. We're not celebrities. We're just two people who love each other, hanging out and just having a good time. And that is in itself and in a sense is very attractive to people. And then, there was a situation at the bar where, like, it was just Josh and I just talking, drinking, and just a dad and his son walks up to us and says, do I know you? To us, right? And we're like, no, you don't know us. He goes, calls his son over, has his son talk to me, and then he starts talking to Josh. Apparently, that man went to high school with Josh's dad.
No way.
Yeah. So the whole time, this man was like, you know, sharing stories not about Josh's dad, but about his life to us, the kids, and he's just saying like, it's so nice to just see that two people from two different backgrounds come together and create this magic because he said typically he would not come up to anyone and talk to them. And I go, you hear that, Josh? We're magical. And to lose that, you know, I will never recover, but I am so grateful to have had a friendship like that, and I would say this to my last day on earth. I wish that friendship on every single person. And if you're lucky enough to have that friendship and you're compatible romantically, marry them. I was never going to marry Josh, but we were going to be together for life. Because when he eventually met, this girl named Rachel, she came up to me. She goes, "I feel like I'm a third wheel to you guys." I'm like, "You should feel like that." Because do you think I told her, I was like, "Do you think I'm going to make you comfortable right now?" Because like Josh and I will get into an argument. And if you're smart enough, do not get involved because we will attack you for getting involved. So we get into an argument about our sleeping conditions in this Airbnb. And I'm like, I am not paying $200 to sleep on a couch. There are 4 bedrooms. I don't care. I'm not sleeping on the couch. I ended up sleeping on the couch because I was drunk. But like the whole weekend, like it was just us arguing about that. But we're arguing not because this argument is going to end our friendship. It's just an argument. So you from the outside will be like, "Oh my God, these two are about to throw blows," but we're not, because every argument I ever had with him made us closer. We always had like that deeper conversation where we just understood each other. Like Josh and I would go to a restaurant, and if he paid the last time, I know I'm paying this time. There's never a question about it. It's like it's paid, it's covered, we're doing it. Or we're going on a trip. If I pay for the Oregon trip, you're paying for the New York trip. Like
Bounces
that.
off, yeah.
Like that. It just bounces off. So there was never really a conversation we needed to have about a lot of the things that we just did for each other. So that's one thing I just say to people, like, that is love, a different kind of love that I really do wish on people. And if I wasn't as open to it, I wouldn't have experienced that. I'd have just treated Josh like, someone else I met in my fraternity, which is how I've treated a lot of people I've met in my fraternity. Like someone else I met in my fraternity, once in a while I'll say hi to you. And, you invite me to your wedding, I'll go to your wedding and I'll have a good time. I'll give you hugs. I'll kiss your babies. And I'll go home. And it's not because I don't feel anything. It's just because I just know, like, at some point when a different chapter of my life opens, will I still be invited to any part of your life? And I don't think the answer is yes. And it's not because of a self-esteem thing. It's more of my assessment of the situation thing. Like for you, I know, I'm telling you this directly. The next chapter of your life, I'm going to be there, so get ready. But after some point, I'm going to really ask, where's Marvin? Like, where'd he go? How's he doing? Like, I know that point is going to come. I'm already anticipating it. Until then, we're homies.
We are.
And luckily, with Josh's untimely death, I'm not saying this as a bad thing. Like, I got a new family out of it. His sisters are now my sisters. His nieces are my nieces now. His nephews are my nephews. Like, his family is my family. Like, I celebrate with them. I cry with them. Like, it's something that came out of it. That's something beautiful that came out of something tragic. And for me, another life lesson I learned from that was it's okay to love people. And then if you are in a situation where you are just you are very open to someone and someone shows you they are, believe them. Because my time at UCLA, I started off with a very nice group of friends, and then by the time I was about to be done, I was like, okay, I know now you guys are seasonal friends, and it's okay. I'm not angry, but I
Mm-hmm.
just know. Because initially I didn't think a lot of them were seasonal friends, because I really was like, and then I also sort of had to put myself into this analytical part where I said, these are the first people I'm interacting with since Josh died. Josh died September 2019. The world shut down in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
2021, we're starting to open up a bit, and then these are the first people I'm seeing coming off this tragedy. Yes, I'm going to be hungry to bond. And then when I saw that I was attracting to the wrong kind of bonds, I had to take a step back, because people people show you who they are quickly, you know, and you just have to listen to how they talk about other people. Like, I was not anticipating that there were certain conversations that were being had about me that I later found out about, and I'm like, from you? You came to my house. You and I sat on the couch together and watched Love is Blind. And you and I were like screaming at the TV and eating kettle corn. How are you walking around telling people that I'm this terrible human being? How? And having to put myself in that state where I would never do that. Are you doing that to me? And I'm so happy that happened too. Because at my job now, when I found out who said what, I wasn't as shocked anymore. But I'm so glad that experience prepared me. So everything is preparing me for what's coming next. And I think that's the anxiety. So, anxiety.
Interesting. So it sounds like it all sounds like trauma though, because you experienced it once before, and now your body's like it's happening again, so I have to prepare for it.
Mm-hmm.
How are you processing and getting through that?
I have a therapist.
Okay.
But there are two types of therapy, right? There is a interventional therapy, and then there's just a therapist to just help you process things.
Yes.
So the interventional therapists, they have like a time period where they give you the tools to help you handle a stressful situation. So I have an interventional therapist who's giving me the tools to link things, in order for me to be able to, quote unquote, function without any sort of chemical
Mm.
intervention. So that's going. I don't know if it's going well or not, but it's going, because as I said, 2 days of just waking up, and I'm like, okay, I think I should go outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at my heart rate, 108. Oh, let me go do this. Okay, let me drink half a gallon of water because I feel like I should drink a gallon of water. It's
Yeah.
again, it's one of those things where you're just like, and then I'm kind of working on getting myself like a more ongoing therapist instead of interventional, because an interventional therapist, like, the reason why I like the interventional therapist so much is because, like, the tools that I give you, you can use it for any situation. And working in the medical field, you are always in a stressful situation. So I kind of wanted that so I could handle personal life and professional life and also keep it separate. Like, there's only like one or two or three people in my life that I can just talk to. One of them is, his name starts with a T. And like, whenever he calls, I always told him, I'm like, you always call at the worst time. Like, he goes, why? Because I'm like, I'm about to freaking jump off a balcony, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about why I feel like this.
Mm-hmm.
And we end up having spending 2 or 3 hours on the phone. talking. He's sharing, I'm sharing, we're linking things, we're understanding why. And then, with the ending of that situationship, I said, I was very accepting of what was happening. And I go, I probably was very accepting of what was happening because I was told, take people how they are. But now, like, I'm taking you as you are, but then you're adding to something that I'm not comfortable with anymore.
Mm.
Then I'm thinking I'm crazy because I said I was okay with this. And now I'm kind of like, okay, but you asked for this to be closed off, but you're not doing it. So that's a promise you've broken. Now, how do I process a broken promise? Do I stay? Do I grind my teeth? I'm gonna walk away. So it is it is a work in progress. And then, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna be nice to people, meet new people. Like, I am just hoping that something happens for the better for me soon. It's not that things are bad now. Again, as I said, like, this anxiety is not coming from what I have now. I have a good job. My bills are paid. I'm not a sugar baby. I have no wrinkles. And this is my real hair. A lot of things are going well. Like, it's the next chapter, man.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm excited to see what this next chapter brings you. I think you share that you're gonna be in my life in this next chapter of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm for sure gonna be in your chapter for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for sharing everything. Like, you definitely, I know you said that you don't open up a lot, but
I don't.
you opened up a lot on this podcast, and I really appreciate that.
It's crazy. You never knew any of this about me, did you?
No, I mean,
In 9 years.
no, we've talked, but we've never had like a full deep conversation about like just like our histories, which is what I really appreciate you opening up and honestly just giving me the opportunity to also record the story for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the reason why I agreed to this was because, oh,
2 hours, sorry.
the reason why I agreed to this was because, I was told recently by a friend of mine who has known me for 10 years. He said, Hendrix, I don't know your middle name. I go, what?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what? He goes, you know my name, you know my birthday, every time I've cried, like, you've been there. But I just don't think I know a lot about you. And I go, how? And he goes, you take on people's stuff, but you just don't release it. And that could also be part of my anxiety too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I didn't really have a choice but to take on people's stuff. And then when my lid is full, just pours over. Like, being told from a very early age that I was different left a mark, where my grandma was like, you process things differently. And then having those, and not in a negative way though,
Mm-hmm.
to be clear, like, some people take that as a negative, but I just never ever got personal. I stayed friendly, but the only person that I got very personal with was Josh. I got really personal with him. And the reason for that was because we had a 2-hour conversation, which is probably the length of this podcast.
Close to it, yeah.
We had a 2-hour conversation where he shared, I shared. So when I met his family after his unfortunate death, I felt like I knew them. And then instantly they said to me, they felt like they knew me. So there was just no hesitation. So I'm hoping that from this and me saying this allows people to be more vulnerable. Because one thing I can say now is I do ask those deep questions
Mm-hmm.
with people, because I'm not only am I doing this for me, but I'm also asking myself, can I trust you? So, like if I say, how are you? You go, I'm good, we're good. And it's simple. It's just simple, but that's an analysis where you're
Mm-hmm.
just like, this is a shallow thing. And I go, no, but really, how are you doing? And then if you go into a tangent and say, oh my gosh, dude, my back hurts. I'm like, okay, like this is my
Let's open it up.
people.
Yeah.
Let's tell me what's going on. Or you sit next to me, you go, and I go, tell me about it. And you go, don't worry about it. Closes the door. I will still treat you nicely, but the day you do feel like you need to open up, I will take my time to open up to you at the same time. So when people say, Hendrix, you always put your business out there, I'm like, do I though?
Mm-hmm.
I put just enough for you to think you know, but you really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I am able to assess for myself why I react the way I react to certain things. Um, and I'm also able to like accept my faults. I take accountability on things. So when someone says to me, Hendrix, I told you this and you didn't take accountability, I'm like, when did you say it? What was my reaction when you said it? Was I looking at you and nodding, or was I trying to understand why you're saying what you're saying? Because there are two ways you can look at a situation. If I'm trying to understand why you're saying what you're saying, I'm probably trying to investigate if something was miscommunicated at some point for you to need clarification on.
Mm-hmm.
Then me explain that away doesn't mean that I'm not taking accountability. I'm just trying to make you understand. But if I did something that I recognize I did wrong, I 100% be like, yes, I did that. I didn't know this is what was going to affect you, and I'm sorry. When someone does that to me or for me, oh my God, I'm just like, you are a beautiful soul. Because it takes a good person to say, my actions hurt you, I'm sorry, and then they mean it. If it takes someone longer, wait for them. And if you wait and they don't realize it, leave. According to my
Very
grandmother.
much so, I have to ask you about that.
According to my grandmother, leave. And when you leave, you already have your answer. You know, I would say on this podcast that I did fall in love recently. And it sucks. It sucks. Because I keep getting the question like, oh, what's next for you? Oh, I know career wise what's next for me. But it's one of those things where I'm going through it now and I'm like, am I putting more effort into engaging than you are? And if I am, I do think this love is not gonna last. But it's not a way. That's not how you should think about. That's not how I should think about it. But when two people meet and everything is right. The right person at the wrong time is still the wrong person, and the wrong person at the right time is the wrong person. So, if it's meant to be, it will be. But until then, I am also in that process of like taking 50 steps back.
And being ready.
It's not that I'm not ready.
No, like taking the steps back to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are getting close, and I want to share. Again, thank you. And we end every podcast episode with giving the guest the opportunity to share one memory that they want to make sure is saved recorded, preserved. It can be happy memory. It can be a lesson. It can be anything at all that you just want to make sure is saved as a memory for yourself.
I feel like a lot of the stories that I've shared today are saved memories,
They're beautiful memories. And if you want to maybe speak on one that you already spoke on, you're more than welcome to as well.
I would like to share the memory of forgiveness that I think is the purest thing that my grandmother had for her son. Interesting how I still call him her son and not my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Where she said, after all that happened, she said, "You took the necklace, but you forgot the earrings." And if I am able to get to that point in life where I can forgive because I love, I think I'll be good. And that's a memory. You took my necklace, but you forgot the earrings. That's my memory.
Thank you, Hendrix, for sharing that memory. And to honest, kind of what you said, kind of what your grandma said about you, that you were ahead for your time. I think your grandma was ahead for her time as well.
Yeah, she said that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, and she told me over and over again, she goes, "I am so sorry. This world is not going to understand you. And then when you're gone, it's when they will." And I'm like, okay, that's something I'm going to take with me. She goes, "No, it's not something you're going to take with you. It's something the world is going to take with them."
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could have met your grandma.
You know?
I think most people would like to have met your grandma.
Yes. Josh, all the time. It's like, dude, like, if anything, I just want to go back in time and have us meet again as kids. And let's just sit with your grandmother and just have her share knowledge. Like, I don't know how you can just be so loving and open and forgiving to people, even though how bad life treated you. And how she left this world, too, sucked. In pain and cancer? No. So, if anything, to remember this podcast by, let's keep my grandmother, Alice, alive.
And live on forever.
And live on forever.
Perfect.
Love you.
I love you, buddy. That being said, thank you for being my guest again. And this won't be the last time.
It won't be the last time.
Sounds good. Buddy.